Okay, the many stereo components do not have a fuse in them for overcurrent protection. And here is your filament inside your typical 15 and 20 amp house fuses. See how big it is? And see how big the filament is inside the fuse I put inside of a stereo component? These two house fuses here are meant to protect wire that is this size. See how heavy that is? It fits in the second hole right here. But the size of the cord on your stereo component is this one all the way up here. See how much smaller that wire size is up here? So while something is shorting out and burning inside the stereo, this cord can get hot while it's taking time to blow the house fuses. And as you can see, there's no overcurrent protection at all of any kind in here. Okay, so first I'll put a tail on my fuse block here. Okay, I'll take a piece of 18 gauge wire here. I'll put it in through my hole. Make sure all my strands go through the hole. Get a nice tight mechanical bond here. I'll put it in my vise. I'll use rosin core solder in my iron. I'll clean my tip. I'll tin my tip. I'll heat the terminal in the wire. I want to fill the hole so it's a nice factory work looking solder joint. I'll let that cool a bit. I'll turn it over and it's a nice full solder joint and it doesn't run down the post. Okay, now we're going to have to clip this little zip tie here. We'll take that off, and we're going to put the fuse on the live side. See how this side of the cord is black and the other side is white? So now we have to move this off of that board there. So we're going to have to take a pair of pliers. tin our iron. And we got the that piece of the cord off. So now we're ready to fasten our other side here. Make sure we don't break any strands. See how that strand came out? You don't want that. You want to make sure all the strands go in the hole. Okay, I'm going to strip this a little longer so we can get a nice mechanical bind in here. Again, being careful not to break any of the strands. Now I'm not twisting the strands very tight because I want to be able to have them all nice and loose so I can wrap them. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to make a nice wrap here. Now I'm going to have to get my vise up here to clip it. Okay, I will tin my iron again. Go from underneath here, heat the terminal and the wire. I want to fill that hole up so it's a nice, looks like factory work type of a deal. Okay, I got the hole all nice and filled. I'm going to let that cool a bit. Okay, I'll let that cool a little bit, so we'll unclip it. And we'll look at the bottom of the solder joint here. We have a real nice solder joint. The solder does not run down all over the place there. So this is going to be mounted right in here. So the other one is going to go over here on this post. I'm going to strip this really long because I'll show you why. Okay, I have to get it around this post here and get it down and bring it around, making sure I get all the strands in there. use the pliers to get the wire all wrapped around the post. I'm going to have to go get a narrower pair of pliers. Okay, I'm going to make myself a little tool to wrap this wire around the post. I'm just taking a paper clip here, and I'm going to bend a nice sharp 90-degree bend in it like this. And this way I'll make sure I get all the strands. See how I get all those strands coming up? And then I'll take the nice wide pliers. See how nice and wide these are? And I'll wrap all the strands around that post. There's a few here sticking up a little bit underneath, so I'm going to reach down and now I'm going to just push this wrap down so it's even with the rest of them there, and then I'll do some more wrapping, making sure it's all nice and tight. See how it's all nicely wrapped? So now I can go ahead and solder these. I take and put a little solder on the iron. And now that the soldering is done, I can tin my iron, turn it off. This is a fairly expensive Harman Kardon cassette deck. So now I'm ready to mount my block. I'll take my nut driver. Okay, I'll put the nut driver on the back here. Okay, I'm going to look at it, make sure it's nice and straight, which it isn't. Nice and straight there. It's nice and straight. Put the screwdriver back here. Nut driver back here. And we'll put a 1 amp fuse in here. Okay, so we'll put a zip tie on here for our wire dress. And we'll clip it right there. And we'll get another one in here because the factory did have one in here. So we're going to put another one in here. So I'll make sure it's in the notch underneath. See the notch in the top and the notch on the bottom? I'm going to make sure I get it in both of those notches and just snug it up like that. Alrighty, so see the bridge rectifier here, and sometimes it has 4 single diodes. This is a bridge rectifier, and the power capacitors and the 2 voltage regulators. If one of these go bad in a shorting condition, it can get this transformer here very, very hot, and the windings can short out. And while it's taking time to blow the house fuse, this cord can be getting very hot and it can melt and it can short out and start a fire in the house. So this fuse is nice and small and it will blow this before a fire starts in your house. This is a Harman Kardon cassette deck, model TD302. And there's the fuse block. Now to finish it off, I'll just tap it upside down like this, just to make sure no loose strands of wire or anything or little tiny solder balls got in there. And I'm going to use some Loctite to prevent this screw from loosening up. Now let that sit and dry.